Very highly charismatic people have to have the perfect blend of two traits. You must have a perfect blend of warmth and competence. Very, very smart people make the mistake of showing up as all competent. They try to blow you away with their numbers and their facts and their stats and their data, but they're seen as cold.
Yeah.
They're seen as intimidating. On the other side, you have people who are highly warm. They have competence, but there's not a balance. They show up as highly likable, highly friendly, but they're interrupted. They're told that they're not being taken seriously.
They're not credible.
Right. People forget having met them before. And so I think that most people problems stem from an imbalance between your warmth and competence. And so not only do I think that charisma is essential for being successful, I actually think it's the only way that people will be open to your competence.
Welcome to the Polished Paradigm, where we go over all things leveling up. Today we are talking about something that is not spoken about enough, and that is being magnetic through your use of charisma. We are not born with charisma, but it's easy to practice, and when you use it effectively, you can win anyone over. Now let's watch some tips on how others use and build their charisma.
Your ability to influence other people is actually determined by one characteristic. It's not how confident you are. It's not how attractive you are. You know those people that are just so contagious to be around? It feels like everybody likes. You can actually hack your way into being that person with just minor changes to the way that you talk to other people. So this characteristic that Princeton research found accounts for 82% of how other people perceive you is called charisma. And what sets charisma apart from other personality traits is that you're not born with it. It's actually something that you can practice and grow and develop over time. And charisma is so important because it affects your ability to influence people. So think negotiating your salary, interviewing for a job, going on a date, and building charisma is actually quite simple. It's made up of your warmth and your competence. And the problem that most people have is that they over-index one direction or another. Maybe they're really warm and bubbly and effusive, but they don't really command respect. Or, they're very matter of fact, they're competent, but they kind of come off like a jackass. But you can make very minor tweaks to your behavior that can actually help you optimize to come across more charismatic. So you could signal warmth by nodding your head or tilting to show that you're listening, or you could signal competence by speaking more slowly and confidently and on down tone. But pay attention next time you're in a conversation. See if there are tweaks you can make to signal both warmth and competence equally.
The good girl is a try-hard trying to convince people to like her. The bad bitch leads people using their psychology. Let me give you an example of how I turned a competitive manager to like and respect me and to even give me more opportunities. First things first, you have to understand that everybody has weaknesses. You have to know what they are and use them to your favor. Everybody has unmet needs. Everybody has their insecurity. You can either use to harm them or to help them do the right thing. And in my case, I helped her do her job better. This particular competitive good girl manager had a lot of mother wounds. I made sure in our interactions that I told her many heartwarming stories of how I parent my children, deeply triggering what she wished that she had with her own mother. In one occasion, she cried. In the beginning, her demeanor towards me was nasty, cold, and competitive. Eventually, I had won her over to the point that she couldn't explain why she suddenly saw me as a good candidate for more opportunities. She then ended up rooting for me for a promotion, which I got.
Charisma is the single most important skill you can develop.
This is especially true when you're getting a new job. So many people think interviews is a test for how much they know, all their skills, all of that. When in reality, all they're checking is if you pass the vibe check and can do the job. You do this by matching the tone and energy in the way that they're speaking, making small talk even before the interview starts and after it ends, and finally taking main skills from the job description and then infusing them into your answers. If you do all those three things, you're gonna get the job.
This is exactly what I do when I go into a job interview. And of course, I'm a bartender, so I bring that big bartender energy, walking like I already got the job, what are we really doing here, right? I guess I'll let you interview me because you have to. But I am just so confident that I already have the job before they even see me. So once they do see me, it's a wrap. I get in there, I subtly drop my accomplishments here and there while bantering with the manager, and whether they're male or female, they always end up loving me. My job experience is just a plus because it's my energy and my personality that sells them right away. It's so true what this guy says about the vibe check. They just want to make sure that you're somebody that they're going to want to be around for 8 hours at a time. People really know in the first few seconds if they like you or not, so we really have no time to be nervous or unconfident. If you look really nervous, it just kind of sends the message that you might be hiding bodies in your trunk or something. I tend to speak to people like they're an old friend or like I knew them in a past life. People are more comfortable and open around familiarity, and this makes you more relaxed and confident, because how do we feel when we speak to our friends and family? Calm, cool, collected. With bartending too, it really helped me build my charisma, because you're not just getting paid to make good drinks. You're getting paid to schmooze, and that was evident in the great tips that I made at every job I've ever had.
Okay, so this is the reason that some people can just like instantly capture attention and command respect when they speak, or are really good at making people feel comfortable. People like this understand how to use vocal cues to get their communication to have the impact that they want, whether it's making friends or inspiring confidence or motivating a team or pissing somebody off. Vocal cues are how we say what we say rather than just what we say. And this includes our tone, our inflection, our cadence, our volume, our pitch. Like, think about Elizabeth Holmes, who changed her voice to sound lower so she could command respect in Silicon Valley. Or take Obama, one of our arguably most charismatic presidents, for his incredible oratory skills. People who work in customer service often receive tone of voice training so they can build rapport and empathy with customers. They can resolve issues quickly. They can avoid blow-ups when Karens come their way. As we've been talking about in her book, Vanessa Van Edwards explains the techniques that we can use to master our own vocal cues to have the impact that we want and influence other people. We can exude charisma by learning how to balance our warmth and our confidence. So if you want to demonstrate more competence in your voice, you need to learn how to speak in a way that exudes confidence and authority. Instead of taking a deep breath and speaking on the in-breath, instead breathe out and speak on the out breath. It'll slow down your voice, it'll lower your pitch. When making a statement, end it on a down tone rather than an inflection. Otherwise, it'll make you sound uncertain and less confident in what you're saying. And try to speak on the lowest comfortable end of your natural voice. Try using a controlled and a deliberate pace. On the flip side, if you want to signal warmth, the best thing you can do is smile when you talk. It has been proven to change the sound of your voice, even if somebody can't see you smiling. You can use encouraging sounds in conversation to show that you're listening, like or interesting, as brief responses to somebody talking. Or you can use energy and inflection in your voice to show that you're excited. Now here's a tip to practice this. Before going into any presentation or interview or salary negotiation, try recording yourself. Practice what you want to say and listen to whether the vocal cues you are sending are having the impact that you want to have.
This is how to increase your charisma and get anyone to like you. Whether it's a business setting, a first date, meeting new friends, I think you can apply these tips to pretty much like any situation. First, let's talk about some of the physical things you can do. Body language, open body language, eye contact, smiling. Even if you're not fully smiling, smile with your eyes, head nodding when the other person's talking, confident mannerisms and posture. Example, if I walked into a room and I had my head down, my arms crossed, and I wasn't smiling, people aren't gonna see me as confident. They're not gonna wanna talk to me. I'm not gonna come off approachable or likable in that moment. But if I walked into a room and I've got good posture, I'm not looking at my phone, I'm smiling, I have open body language, people are immediately gonna see you as approachable and likable. So much of what we say isn't what we actually say. It's how we carry ourselves. It's how we present ourselves. And a lot of that is body language. Also, be positive, be playful. People want to be around positive people, not people who are always complaining or bitching. You want to radiate positive energy. And a lot of this can be done through physical cues. Be present. Don't be on your phone. Don't be looking out the window. It is you and this other person. That is your current reality, and that is the only thing you should be focused on. Now, the mental part you have to convince yourself of. People are people. People are not scary. It doesn't matter how attractive this other person is, how old they are, how much more established they are than you. We are all human. We are all in the same league. So you should never feel intimidated by anyone. Also, don't be so focused on whether or not this other person likes you. Change your mindset to, this person already likes me. No one's judging you like you're judging yourself. And most people, when they meet other people, they want to like them. When people are meeting you for the first time, inherently they want to like you. Most people don't dislike someone until they give them a reason to dislike them. Obviously, this isn't always the case, but you have to mentally convince yourself of that. And when you speak with energy, speak with personality, use inflection. If I spoke in a very monotone voice with no personality, if I came on TikTok and I was just like, this is what happened to me today, people won't want to hear me talk. They're not gonna find me interesting. Also, don't be afraid to take up space in a room. If you radiate like this confident, positive, playful energy, a lot of people will feel that you have this magnetic aura and they will want to be around you. They will immediately like you. Do more listening than talking. Ask questions about the other person. Most people want to talk about themselves. If you get someone to talk about themselves, they will leave that interaction with you feeling like they like you. Even if they don't know anything about you. When people get to talk about themselves, they feel good. You want people to feel good when they are around you. Take a genuine interest in this other person and what they have to say. Don't be fake about it. You have to realize like other people are genuinely so interesting. I love getting to meet people for the first time because getting to know someone new, getting to learn about the things that they like and they dislike, people are genuinely so interesting as a whole. Every person has their own story. Every person has their own interests. Getting to pick someone's brain that you've never met, that is such a cool thing. And if you feel that way, people will sense that about you and they will like you. They'll want to spend time with you. Ask people about the things that they like and then ask further probing questions. Like, for example, what kind of music do you like? Okay, who's your favorite artist? Okay, like what's your favorite album? What's your favorite song? What should I listen to? Genuinely take an interest in what other people's interests are. And don't do this to like manipulate them. Most of the things I've ever found that I've liked, I've gotten to know from other people by just asking them questions, figuring out the things that they liked, and then maybe I like it too. Get them to say things that make their eyes light up, and then be super engaged with what they have to say. And if you're in a job interview, spin some of those questions back around on the interviewer. Don't share too many analogies about yourself. And I know this is a habit a lot of us have. I know I do too, where someone will tell me a story, and then I'll immediately be like, oh, something similar happened to me. And then I'll want to tell them the story about me. And a lot of times when we do this, we're doing this because we want to relate to the other person or show the other person that we understand what they're dealing with, what they're going through. But a lot of times when you do this, it comes off like you're trying to make it about yourself. And I know that's not always the intention, but that's how people will interpret this. And if you want someone to like you, you got to make it about them, not about you. Also, don't be negative, like at all. If you're on a first date with someone, don't trauma dump on them. I know a lot of times we do this because we think, oh, I want that person to get to know me, so they have to know this stuff about me. Save that for later. Save the trauma dumping for your close friends, for your family, for people who really know you, not someone you just met. If you just met this person, why are you giving them so much access to know this personal information about you? You don't know them. People don't want to be around negative people. And if you are coming off negative at all, a lot of people subconsciously won't want to be around you. That is the truth. Don't immediately start bragging about your accomplishments or the things that you've done. You have to save a lot of these things and just let them come out in spurts when it's appropriate. Also, be humble. Show humility. Show some of your flaws. Don't hide them. People will like you more if they see you as a real human. You'll be relatable. Most people appreciate seeing flaws in another person, but keep the big ones to yourself at first. Also, don't be super agreeable with the other person. Learn to politely disagree with things the other person says if you do. If you always come off super agreeable, a lot of people will register that as bullshit. And you can practice all of this by just pushing yourself to meet new people. I learned most of this stuff by just interacting with people, by just meeting new people all the time. Whether it was at university or going to parties or when I was working retail and I had to get people to buy stuff. The more you interact with people, the better you'll get with building your charisma and making your personality more likable. You can do it, I promise.
Here are 3 tips to help you become more charismatic. If you're a woman on her feminine energy journey, being charismatic is one of the top qualities that you can have that will raise your level of feminine energy. Tip number 1, eye contact. When you are talking with someone, look them in the eye and hold it. When you are looking around, when you are looking at your phone, what this shows is 1, you are not present, which means you're not in your feminine energy, and 2, you are not confident and secure enough in yourself to maintain that eye contact. Tip number 2, when someone is talking with you, be genuinely curious and interested in what they are saying. When they tell you something, follow it up with a question that relates to exactly what they just told you. This will help you to connect on a deeper level with them, showing that you are genuinely interested in what they are having to say. Tip number 3, last but not least, be open. What I mean by this is be open to opportunities and people that come into your life. Don't be so narrow-minded and closed off, thinking that your way is the best way or that your plan needs to happen. Be open to what life throws at you. This will help you flow in the moment and be more in your feminine energy.
When I'm in a conversation with someone and they're talking to me but looking somewhere else, it's so awkward. It doesn't even look like they're bored. It just looks like to me that they're not comfortable looking at me in the eye or they're intimidated by it. For example, I was getting to know this guy once on our first date, and we were just sitting at a high top at the bar, so our seats were kind of next to each other, not like directly across from each other. And he was talking to me the whole time, looking straight ahead. Like I was looking at the side of his face the whole time we were talking. I was nodding and ad-libbing to the side of his face. It was so awkward. It was like he was scared to look at me. It made me feel like he either wasn't good at conversing with others or he didn't get social cues. And that's the kind of vibe you're putting out when you're not giving eye contact.
Go from shy to most interesting person in the room with these 3 steps. Being a charismatic person is not about having a certain personality trait or being the funniest in the room. It's finding joy in every single moment that you spend with other people. It's about taking your eyes off yourself and then being able to have deep and genuine connections with every single person that you meet. That's where that magnetism comes from. People see how you treat others and they think, oh, they'll probably treat me the same way. So how do you have deep and genuine connections with every single person you meet? Be present. Be extremely present. Every single person in the world can provide value for you. And if you learn how to see the value in others, then others will start to see the value in you. When you find the value in other people, then it's going to be so much easier for you to ask questions, be curious, and want to engage in conversation with them. The second thing you need to remember with charisma is any moment can be a special moment if you make it so. Take people's small, ordinary moments and make them special. So I love doing this. When I'm talking to like a cashier or something and they're telling me about their day, they're like, oh, I'm gonna be off in like an hour, like, oh, I'm so done. Then I'll say, congratulations, you did that. How long have you been here? They'll say 8 hours, like, wow, give it up. Give it up. Make people feel special for moments that ordinarily like wouldn't be that special. And the last thing you can do to be completely charismatic is make extremely positive assumptions about people. One of my favorites is, you look like you smell good. Another one could be, oh, you look like you own 10 businesses. I love your suit. Or let's say somebody's dressed really nicely and uniquely. I would say, if I had to guess, like, you probably work in the fashion industry because your outfit is breathtaking. I love your outfit so much. Being charismatic is less about how you feel, like, oh, I'm not funny, I'm not energetic. Cut it out. Stop thinking like that. It's less about how you feel and more about how you make the other person feel. It's making other people feel welcome, feel comfortable, feel special. And once you do that, you will be a people magnet. So I hope this helps.
You can get whatever you want from people. You just got to ask in the right way. That's something my college professor in speech and communication said when I was a freshman or sophomore. And it always stuck with me and got me interested in applied behavior science. That was something that always struck me on my personal social journey. It's not about the cards that you play, it's about how you play them. By now, I hope that most people have heard the stat that 93% of communication is nonverbal. Now, what does that mean? That means that 93% of communication is not the words that you say. In the 1950s and the 1970s, there was a series of experiments conducted by Dr. Albert Mehrabian, and he found that 55% of communication is body language, dress, how you carry yourself, all the physical aspects of communication, and 38% was the voice. It was vocal tone, it was the rate at which you speak, and the volume at which you speak. The 7% that is the words, that's where we get stuck. Whether I'm walking up to that QD and starting a conversation or giving a presentation, it's not the words that I'm saying, but how I say it. Saying hi to someone could be, hey, sorry to bother you, I just wanted to talk to you. Or it can be, hey, how's it going? Right? How you say it is the important thing. So next time you're in a social situation and you're thinking, what do I say? What do I say? First start with, how do I need to be? And if you can be that way, it'll be a lot easier for you to think of what you're going to say. My name's Craig, and I've taught over 5,000 people how to be more charismatic through applied behavior science. For either personal purposes like romance and making friends or dealing with social anxiety, to professional purposes like being a better leader or presenter or networker. I've worked with professionals like politicians, actors, CEOs, engineers, doctors, but I've also worked with common people who are servers, who are trying to get better tips, or just somebody who wants to make more friends and be more comfortable in a social situation. So if you're interested in more, please follow me. Go to the link in my bio and check out the free trainings that I have, as well as joining the Discord where you can get more access to me. Have a good day.
Here are 3 science-backed tips to have better communication and improve your connections with people. The first tip is to boost your brainwave synchronization with other people. Neural synchrony is super important for connection, understanding, and bonding. Where the more synchrony you have, the more connected you'll feel. Eye contact is one way to boost brain sync, and another way is to take the other person's perspective. Taking the other person's perspective gives you more context and understanding, which boosts brain sync. Tip number 2 is to always ask for more clarification. Everyone's brains are wired differently depending on our past and genetics. And over the course of our lives, we have wired into our brains different associations with words and phrases that other people do not have. Asking for clarification first before jumping to conclusions helps keep miscommunications from happening, and it also helps provide us more context, which boosts brainwave synchronization. And tip number 3 is to have some sort of mindfulness practice. I started meditating about 3 months before my PhD interviews started, and I swear to you, meditation was the reason why I was able to ace all of my interviews, because I was able to receive a question, be comfortable sitting in the silence, and then respond without reacting. Meditation gives you superpowers at the end of the day.
It's so true. Mindfulness and meditation puts you in the frequency to raise your vibration and attract. People will naturally find you more magnetic, but they won't know precisely what it is about you that attracts them to you. We will talk more about frequencies in another video.
You are being judged every time you interact with someone, not by what you say, but by how you say it. And as someone who's built a 7-figure personal brand, let me give you some tips on how to project a powerful presence that leaves a good impression. The first thing is called the chameleon technique. The most charismatic people all adapt their energy based on who they're talking to. So if you're talking to someone who's super high energy and they're very animated, a lot of the time they feel like the other person isn't as invested in the conversation if they don't bounce that energy back. If you want to make that person feel seen and build rapport with them, you want to increase your energy by 20% to somewhat match their level. The second thing is inflection. The way you talk will tell on you. One of the biggest giveaways you lack confidence is speaking in an upward inflection, which sounds like this. Subconsciously, you're signaling you're looking for validation, as if you're trying to ask a question to get approval from the other person. When you do the opposite and end your sentences in a downward inflection instead of an upwards questioning tone, it doesn't matter if you're talking to the CEO of a Fortune 500 company and you're the intern, the unpaid intern. It signals to the other person that you have certainty in your ideas and you stand by them. Okay, the third thing is I want you to stop using inferior language. Oh, if you want to. Oh, I'm sure I'm not as good as you. You might think you're just being humble or agreeable. It actually comes across as insecure, like you're not comfortable with the fact that you could be good at something. If you think about all the reasons why you respect someone, it's actually not because they're super agreeable or overly humble. It's probably because they have this energy of certainty where they respect themselves enough to share their opinions even if they know other people won't agree with it.
I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and this is one of the first things we learn in school, is how to build rapport with your client. You parrot them in a way to essentially get on their level so they feel comfortable with you. It's called mirror and matching. You sit in a similar way as them, you speak in a similar pattern or speed as them, and you say things that validate what they say. Like, so if I'm hearing you right, and you kind of repeat back what they said to you, and they're like, yeah, that's it, you understand me. It's an easy way to get on their level and make them feel heard because at the end of the day, everyone just wants to connect with others and feel validated. So if you can make someone feel like that, you have effectively utilized your charisma. Well, that's all I got for you today, but thank you so much for listening and subscribe for more content like this. See y'all again soon.